Hello, Kristina. Welcome to your reading, my dear raffle winner. Thank you so much. I always feel like the raffle winners, there's like some type of karma, And I made sure to pray before that the raffle winner would be someone that really either like needed it or needed it. I think that's what I said. And I didn't remove your last name. I thought I removed it already. But yeah, so you're from Serbia. I'll hide your last name. And the other raffle winner is from Brazil. So I was kind of deciding like, I have a few charts left from May, and they're all around the same date. So just deciding which one I want to do first, and I decide on yours. So let's go ahead and share the screen, show the chart. So obviously, we see that the sun is on the midheaven in Capricorn, which is like very, very interesting. And I know you don't have a follow-up, obviously, because you're the raffle winner, but you'll have to like write me. I mean, I would appreciate if you'd write me like kind of like a reflection paper, your teacher. No, just I like to know like kind of like how I do. People think I don't appreciate it, but I actually really appreciate when 1 second, when people like write me like an essay. Maybe an essay is a little bit like exaggerated, but like when people like really like take the time to like explain like this part, you said this and this is like the reality, like that really helps me as an astrologer. So 1 second. Hold on. Okay. One sec. Okay. So okay, yeah, that looks good. So annoying. I can't send. It's just like Instagram just made it so like I can't send DMs. So like just like I'll send it, it'll send, and I think it sends and says it was like it failed. So that's really really awesome. But anyways, okay, so you have a really interesting chart. So I don't know anything about you. You're born in 2005, so you're probably the youngest client I ever had, which is very interesting. Um, the fact that you have your sun conjunct Chiron on the midheaven, you might be someone who's meant to be like some kind of healer. When I say healer, I mean someone that helps people either with their, it could even be a doctor, it could be a psychologist, it could be an astrologer, it could be many, many things, right? But basically, healing is something that you have to go through as well. Now, I don't know, like I've had charts with clients, who are in high, who come from very like big families, even royal families. And typically when I see the sun in the midheaven, like especially in a sign like Capricorn, it means a lot of times it means that the father, well, it can mean a lot of times it means that the father had like a prominent position in society, or just that the father was a very powerful man, which is subjective, right? Or that the father had a very powerful influence on your, or is having a very powerful influence on kind of what you want to do, yeah, and usually sun on the midheaven, it's very very good placement for success, especially sun in Capricorn, right, in the midheaven. Now, when we see the fact that Saturn down here on the IC with Blackman Lilith, it makes us think like this would be the kind of chart I would be like, okay, like this is like the kind of chart I would think like someone like who is born in like a very wealthy, like very rich family, which, you know, who knows if it's the case, but like this is like a possibility. Someone who's born in like a very, or at least like, it doesn't have to be rich, but just like very powerful family, and who, you know, but basically because of this of the strength of the sun, you know, there's like lots of pain and a very you know, maybe like a very strict father figure, right? And lots of darkness that came from the childhood, right? So that's a huge possibility. And in essence, you know, Saturn down there, yeah, it can make one, it can really have an effect. And of course, you know, you have Saturn on, as you're ruling your sun, so it'll be very important for you as someone who's still developing, still young, very young, to get past whatever childhood. It's not really necessarily trauma, but like to get past whatever childhood resentments, or, you know, whatever it is that's symbolic of that Saturn down there, right? And it's all in Cancer out this part of your chart. So you know, it's something with the family, and like it's in the third house, so it could even be siblings. Like, but like the fact is, it's on the right side of the IC. So like, I mean, you know, there could be some of the siblings, but there could, you know, overall, I still, you know, like to think of that as just conjunct IC, you know, which can make you like have restrictions in your own mind of what you think is possible. And you know, obviously it opposes your midheaven and your sun. So a lot of times that's even further something, you know, some issues with the father, where, you know, your highest success, like you need to heal that relationship. If it's your father, you know, usually it is the more dominant parent. Like your success in life, like, and it doesn't mean like, you know, of course there's like boundaries, right? Like there's people who are unwilling to, you know, there's some people who just are unwilling to have an emotional talk and who are just toxic people. I'm not saying that's what your dad is. I'm just saying that you can also create boundaries by coming to peace with whatever it was. One trick is you write a letter, like a handwritten letter, that you're not actually going to send to your whoever this, you know, to the father or whoever it is, and then you burn the letter, and you use that as kind of like a rite of passage, right? And yeah, but basically, like, you know, there's different versions of this. Let me actually pull up the aspects. But definitely issues with the father. You know, it's also square. It's a T square, so it's conjunct Chiron and square square Jupiter. You know, I also have Sun square Jupiter, and I don't think it's that. I think when you're young, which you are, it can be difficult because it can make you kind of have the energy of like, I always say the metaphor is like you're walking into the casino, you're thinking you're automatically gonna win, right? And then with Saturn, you know, Saturn, I already said, like that really makes it difficult to express yourself, and it can make you, you know, quite shy in the expression of that Capricorn Sun. But just be sure that even if you do feel like you're being, like, you have a very Saturnian chart. So for you, your life, like, even if it's hard, like the reason that you're so young and you're so mature is because of the Saturn, right? It's because you're an old soul. I just told you, you're the youngest client I ever. I don't think I've ever done someone whose chart is 2005, right? You're 17, right? Yeah. So it's like I've never done that before. So what does that say about someone who still might be in high school? It says that they're an advanced soul and that they had to grow up quickly, and that you know, perhaps they're destined for great things, and they want to get a head start. They don't want to waste time. Like in America, where I'm from, where I grew up, you know, people in high school are so mature most of the time. I mean, not everyone, but like, you know, they're still mature when they finish university at 22, and then even after, you know, you don't have that energy. To me, you have an energy of someone who is very ambitious and who definitely like, but also like there's lots of frustration. So when I'm just going to tell you this right now, when you get to 29 and a half, 30 years old, like all the work, just keep fucking working, keep grinding. Like even if you feel sometimes like you're just being pulled back and like there's just shit just gets in your way and it just makes it so hard. That's literally karma. That's your karma with Saturn that pulls you back. But when you get to 29 and a half years old, your Saturn return, all of this difficult Capricorn energy, right? With this Sun conjunct Chiron, Venus and Mercury, and then the fact that you have Sun opposite Saturn. Let's see what else. Yeah, that goes away. I mean, but what you're left with is like the resilience. You're left with like all the hard work, determination, resilience, but then all those like fucked up things that came up and like made it hard for you to succeed go away. And that's like why there's so many successful people who are very like Capricorn Saturnian. But yeah, definitely like whatever the issue is, whether it's with, you know, father, mother. I mean, it's probably father. You know, you have Chiron also conjunct the Sun. I look at that one more as like, honestly, this is the chart of someone who's, you might be like a politician, or you might be like a really big business person, or you might just be someone who's like a big deal in whatever the profession they choose, right? And you midheaven's ruled by Saturn also, so you know, you can even be like a therapist, which I say that to a lot of my clients. I feel like a lot of my clients are end up being like they're meant to be, like, you know, they're my clients for a reason, right? But a big part of your chart is overcoming this Chiron in Capricorn pain. I'll switch to my face now. Right? Because like when you have a planet conjunct your sun, you are like, you embody that planet. So Chiron's a healer, so you embody the healer. But in an Earth sign like Capricorn, you know, it can make someone feel a little bit insecure about their place in society. Like maybe, like I said, maybe your father was, you know, is very successful or like very like powerful or in some way, and maybe, you know, or even just like has a very powerful presence on you, right? And I you know, I know how Serbia and Romania are. I know how the Balkans are, how kind of how the family structures can be, right? And you know, it can put a lot of pressure on you, and which can make it kind of difficult for you to find your real niche in the outside world, because you might feel like a certain pressure, like I have to do this, I have to either be a lawyer, I have to either be a business person, this or that. And a lot of times, like the Chiron in Capricorn can also talk about painful experiences with the mother. But you know, typically the fact that's conjunct the Sun, it's like you'll choose a profession that's like, you know, related to being a healer. And you know, you're like the spiritual wounds that you have will force kind of a change of philosophy. And I definitely see a lot related to traveling, like and by the way, you should message me about a group like that. I would think you'd be very good for you to be a part of. I don't think I've told you about this yet, but I see it in your chart that you would like this kind of thing. It'd be very, very good for you, especially at your age. But yeah, so like with the 9th house here, to me that is like why you're so young and you're seeking all this knowledge, because you are like, your life purpose, one of your life purposes is broadening your horizons and really, really learning, you know, how to like learn like trying to figure out like what's really truth, you know, why are we here, like just the like, you know, where do we come from, where are we going, these 3 questions. And it kind of adds like a big Sagittarius vibes, even if you don't really have, you do have Sag, you have Mars and Sag, so you probably feel quite Sagittarian, because you have all these planets in the 9th house, which is a house that's closely related to Sag. So then with the moon, you only have the conjunction with Neptune, which is a very loose conjunction, and you know, that's like basically, you know, moon in Aquarius versus Sun in Capricorn, right? So it's like Obviously your sun in Capricorn is very ambitious. You know what Capricorns are. I don't really go into sun signs here, but it's extremely strongly placed. So this is like, what like a king's chart, or queen's chart, whatever. It's someone who's going to be successful regardless of what they do, but they might have a difficult first 30 years where they have to face lots of karmic setbacks. So just the fact that you're mature enough and smart enough and lucky enough to have won the raffle and to now hear the message that I'm telling you, which is that all these setbacks are meant to test you and are meant to, and they're all karmic. They're all like, just knowing that, like, doesn't it make these different things that come up, these setbacks, like more manageable? You're like, all right, you're just trying to test me, universe, because you have big plans for me. So there can be kind of, when you have lots of earth like you do, there can be kind of a serious approach. I think that like that's the one thing, and you do have a Taurus rising too, so it can make one very practical. But it's, once again, it's very, very good for success. Just look up Sun conjunct midheaven if you don't know what that is, and you'll see like everything about it. But there's one thing with that where it's like sometimes you can hinge too much of your success on your public life and public persona, and that's another thing about that Capricorn energy, is that they can care sometimes. So this is what's interesting about your chart. Capricorn is all about like being successful in society, being useful in society, having that honor. But then it's conjunct Chiron, so it's like, you might, like I said, you're healing your soul, healing your sense of self, your identity is very important. But then the moon in Aquarius makes you like very, very different. That's the part of you that like leads you to astrology, right? Where you're very like unconventional. You're very unconventional, emotionally unconventional, super humanitarian, which could also be something like a route you take. And you're like, a lot of people your age, like they and maybe astrology is changing, like it's perception, but like, you're still the youngest person. I'm sure I have lots of young followers. I don't really. It's actually a good question. I wonder what percentage of my followers are under 18. I never really looked at that. Like, do I have a lot? So yeah, I mean, it's this 13 to 17 is 0.9%. So yeah, it's not that many. One second. Yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah, so with having that much earth, you have to watch out for like being stuck, for that stuck energy. Lacking, really, having water in your chart. So, it's important for you to, is Neptune doing anything? Yes, it conjuncts the moon, but yeah, I mean, very, very, very lightly, and has a few sextiles. So you have to really do your best to like get in touch with your emotions, which can be very hard for Aquarius, Moon, Capricorn, Sun. There's a real boss energy to you, right? But sometimes there can be like an over practicality where, so you have to really push yourself to feel your emotions, right? Push yourself to, and it might be through a partner, with your descendant in Scorpio, right? The seventh house cusp, because you're Taurus rising. It might be through like a partner that has like water in their chart, which your Juno is in Aquarius, Neptune. So yeah, I mean, you might really be attracted to like a very spiritual kind of person for like marriage. I know it's not even close, but like, for like a very serious relationship. My cat just did like a running backflip, or front flip, excuse me, over my other cat. That's crazy. But yeah, so like that, that's important. But like for like relationships, like, your ideal mate will be someone who gives you a lot of space, like with the Juno and Aquarius and 10th house. But also, like, you can't deny the fact that you're super ambitious, and you're gonna want someone who's equally as ambitious, but who you're also able to have this like very romantic, like honestly spiritual relationship with. It doesn't mean that they have to like believe in like astrology or any of this, but you want to have someone who's very open-minded and where you can have, where you don't feel this stuckness, like when you have intellectual conversations, for example, like, you know how like with some people you have the conversation and you just are like, fuck, like you just like it's like you're walking on eggshells. You have to be very careful because you say one thing, they're gonna get triggered, or they're gonna get like, they're gonna be like, oh well, you know, start arguing. So that's not the kind of person that's good for you. The kind of person that's good for you is the kind of person where you can just be free with your communication and just, you know, let whatever comes out flow. Yeah, so you know, it's really important also for you with your mom, if your mom has any, like, because your mom also 10th house moon. I don't know, maybe your parents are like a power couple of sorts, like who knows, right? Like public people, right? um and you know, there's that possibility that they didn't spend enough time with you. Maybe your dad's like the president or something. I don't know. Like, um, I'm not like, yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but like I've literally had people whose charts have been like just like this, and their dad, like, I'm not allowed to say like who their dads were, but you know, very, very, very high people. Um, but I've also had charts like that, like that were like this, where it's like it was more of just like the idea of like the fact that the father, whatever he was doing, and the mother, whatever she was doing, they were more focused on their lives and their big picture, kind of like midheaven. Like, so sometimes I've seen people with this charts where like the parents almost like regret, and that sounds fucked up, like like not necessarily regret, but they can like sometimes like blame the kids for like their like the fact that they weren't able to go, and really it's their fault, like failed ambitions, kind of, right? So, you know, Taurus rising. So yeah, basically, as I was saying, like there's gonna be a part of you that's really traditional. There's gonna be a part of you that's very, very unconventional and very, very spiritual. You know, I think that even though it's like a 10-degree orb with the moon and Neptune, I think it still has an effect. I think the Sun conjunct Chiron is making you like, you know, probably want to be like a professional healer of some sort, and you're still maybe trying to figure out, maybe you want to be an astrologer. I don't know. The fact that you're drawn to astrology at this age, to me, is a huge, huge indicator, and that's another reason why, you know, I like you to message me about this group. And don't worry, it's not like it's not anything that costs anything. There's no gimmicks. It's a top secret. Um, so yeah, and why I say groups, I see Uranus in the 11th house. I'll go back to sharing. My eyes are kind of red. Like, don't look at myself enough in the mirror. Okay, so yeah, Uranus 11th house, Pisces. I mean, to me, that's just like the energy of like you like to be parts of like the part of like a very unconventional groups of people that also have like, you know, who share your very like individualistic ideals. Because this is the thing about you, the way you look, Taurus rising, very traditional, right? Your Sun Capricorn, it's also traditional. It's Earth, right? Your Moon Aquarius conjunct Neptune, it means that like underneath all of this, I bet you this whole astrology thing is like hidden. Like I bet you, like maybe, like I don't know, maybe your Mars in the 8th house in Sag, maybe that like makes you like really talk about it. And your Mercury is, it's also like in conjunct Venus, which is very, very, very nice conjunction. But basically, like, you know, I imagine that like you could literally be the kind of person that like no one knows is into astrology, and no one knows is like, you know, has this side of them, right? And the Capricorn sometimes can like, so it's like the split where like the Capricorn part might care a lot about like what other people think of them, right? With all this Capricorn, and like really want to have like perfect public relations, perfect, like seen perfectly by everyone, this, that, and the fourth. But then the Aquarius moon's like, I don't give a shit. And it's like, how do those two work together? Well, you know, it's by figuring out like how you can be of value to society in your life, which is super important to you, right? And then also, you know, making sure that is reflective of you, your authentic self. So journaling and talking to different friends, like and joining this group, or like a group like this one where like you're able to like be with like-minded people and get more. God, I wish I had that at your age. Jeez, actually I don't regret anything, but like you know, like we're able to kind of like become more be exposed to people who are kind of in their authentic selves. And lots of people takes them until they're like they're 40 or older, or 35, or who knows, it's different for everyone, right? To like really like get into that way of being. But yeah, for you, it's at this age, so that there's a big karma related to whatever you decide you want to do. Now, yeah, like in terms of like if I was like to tell you careers, I'd be like, okay, well, like I already told you like a big part of it. Like it has to like definitely you are an empath. Moon conjunct Neptune is an empath. And something that's of value, something where you're working hard. You have Jupiter in the 6th house, so that's like really good for like having lots of luck when it comes to your daily routine, and even to like working for like a company or like working for other people. You'll have lots of luck like in terms of that job. How some people have like the shittiest bosses in the world. Like you'd have very, very good relationships with bosses and stuff like that. But the thing is like and also like it's very good for in Libra for relationships. It makes you really, really like grow through your romantic relationships and really expand yourself through them. And maybe the relationships, they can take on more of like a philosophical kind of like Jupiterian expansive role, but like fairness is something that you really care about. So this is more about like career, right? Is that you care about diplomacy, about fairness, about things being balanced. So that's like very much like healer kind of counselor, whatever, psychotherapist, whatever it is, like but that could definitely be that. But it can also be business, because Libra is the sign of the scales, which is like business. So in Capricorn is all about business. So it's very, very likely. You have to watch out for taking too many risks. I told you that before. But also like that, once you realize that ability in yourself, or that tendency to kind of like, I don't know, be too risks, risks with like money, risks with like your life direction, and feel like, I mean, obviously being Capricorn makes you more conservative. So that's actually good. And like me, who's a Pisces and has this, but still, you have to understand that you have that potential, and to kind of just chill with it, just know it, and whenever you have really big decisions, just always go with the mantra, sleep on it. Don't make decisions like in the moment, right? Like especially when you're like in the heat of the moment. Now, too much Earth in a chart it can sometimes lead to stagnancy, to being a little bit to being like kind of like, it's all Capricorn, I guess, in Taurus rising. But like, just like it can lead to stagnancy and difficulty with starting things. You have Sagittarius, Mars, which is a really great part of your chart. But like once you do start, you're able to really have staying power and like slowly but steady continue on whatever you choose. It's just like lacking water. Like I said, you have to like figure out ways to cats are going crazy. You have to figure out a little cat cam. Figure out ways to like if it's taking baths, or like being close to lakes, like meditating close, like just being close to water in some way. I know that Novi Sad, if that's where you live still, has that river. What's the name of it? I don't know. Oh, do Novi. So yeah, like Danube in English. So yeah, like basically, I don't know. Maybe that, I know there's like that little beach area in Novi Sad, little small tiny beach by the river that people go to in summer. And maybe you live in Belgrade. I don't even know. I've been to Serbia twice, two or three, twice. So Taurus rising, you approach life. It's a slow, steady approach to life. But it makes Venus rule your chart. Venus, of course, being also in Capricorn. So you'll be someone, you can be a very, very artistic person too. Even though it's in Capricorn, you'd probably be more conservative with your money. Venus has a sextile to Uranus, so there's lots of originality in the way you express yourself, like artistically. And you might be someone that really benefits from writing, because Venus is conjunct Mercury. And even though Capricorn Mercury's can be the kind of people who are a little bit stern and cold in their communication, the fact that you have this beautiful Venus there, it's going to add some kind of like some jovialness, like some real some beauty to your speech, right? So it's not so cold, like so it's some warmth. And in relationships, you'll really want someone who's very, very steady. You'll probably have a more serious approach to relationships, like where you're not really trying to mess around. You're very mature, that's one part of it, right? But also, you'll really want to expand through your relationships, as I said before, and also like through that expansion / communication, right? Mercury conjunct Venus. So you'll really value like a relationship that's very steady, where you never ever have to worry about that person cheating or like really just like where the foundations are so solid, like a really, really good skyscraper building, where they spend all that time building the foundation and they build on top of that. That's mega important. So yeah, then the fact that you have Venus, it's Venus also sextile Uranus. I mean, that's just like saying that like you might be like quite unconventional in the kind of a relationship or the kind of person you're attracted to, and also in your tastes, your musical tastes. So it kind of like pushes away some of that like real Capricornian energy. And let's see. Yeah, so that's Mercury and Venus are both trining or sextiling Uranus. So that's gonna also have your communication style and your interests be very like non-Capricorn. So it's like this Uranus is really interesting because it rules your moon, your emotions. So yeah, and this can all be channeled into like a group, like groups of friends, organizations. Like you'd be very humanitarian, like have an emotional need to like have lots of freedom, also like in your life, but also a very rebellious person, right? So you might be someone where there's this back and forth between like doing what you're supposed to do, quote unquote, and then rebelling. It's all about finding the balance of like doing, because you do want to make money. I'm guessing you do want to like be someone who's successful and who really does like help other people, because that's what you're meant to do with Chiron there. And you might even want to be like a public figure of some sorts, And when I say that, I don't mean like Khloe Kardashian or like that. I mean someone who puts themselves out there, and you might not be that shy in that regard. But yeah, it's all about the starting for you. It's all about starting. Esme. They're going crazy, the cats. Oh my god. You can't hear because I have these have like the audio blocked. But anyways, okay. So yeah, that's kind of that. But overall, there is definitely a level of Capricorn traditionality, but I get the sense that you probably are like you feel Capricorn, but then you don't. And the Aquarius moon is really going to make you really want to be unconventional and really want to rebel. So maybe you really wanted to rebel from the father, or from the family expectations, right? And also I knew this was going to happen. I literally could have said it. Your south node is squaring Saturn and the sun. So that's like for sure like that there's some difficult karma with if father is the one I'm talking about. It's like this really intense past life karma, like where things have to be healed. Things really have to be healed. There might be like a really just like you guys might just have super duper. I know in the Balkans, like the new generation is so much more open, right? And then there can be such a disconnect between the older generation and the new generation. So like even if that exists and like you see the world in this like very different light, right? Because I haven't even got into your Mars yet, right? It's about finding that peace and that harmony. And if it can't be done, if it can't be done with because they say that resentments or hate or disgust or whatever you have for another individual is only hurting you, right? It's like drinking poison and hoping that someone else gets hurt by it. So it's important for you to learn, find ways that even if the relationship can't be mended, because you are a rebellious teen, there's little astrology transits that make and even like cognitive psychology shows like why teenagers are rebellious, right? As they start to kind of like move away from their parents as like the main I guess like moving away from parents and towards their peers, right? But like still like it's about like really connecting to your heart, and that's what the moon that's what the lack of water is making difficult, right? Because that's like water is like really like the emotions. So doing like things like meditations, you can even look online and search like what to do like a lacking water in a birth chart, watch on YouTube, like try to find things. I mean, I'm trying to think what comes to my mind, like what can be done. Definitely like working like doing like practices for your intuition, like you can like stare into like doing like third eye meditations would be massive for you. So I do think that you have this because you're South Node, yeah. I definitely think that you have this like this in you. But yeah, third eye meditations, like just full meditations. You don't want to focus too much on the third eye. Like on YouTube you can find them. You can ask me. I know a really actually wait. Just like like you can find like a really good chakra balancing binaural beats. You can message me if you need to know that name. And those can be really helpful. Meditating, really helpful. But you have so much earth that like you're going to be grounded no matter what. And that's just your superpower with earth, is that you can be the same. You can be like relatively close to the same person day after day and have consistency, which is such a fucking, you're so lucky. I mean, I have no earth, so it's difficult for me. But yeah, you are someone who is with Neptune in your 10th house, conjunct Juno, you might like have like want to be married or have like a partner that you are like doing spirit, like you guys' life work is kind of connected. But definitely like moon is so important in love astrology, and someone who gives you lots of space to express your individuality. Like you would never do well with someone who puts you in a box and who like has their own idea of who you're supposed to be. Like there needs to be like lots of like physical and energetic space. You're kind of like a cat in the sense that like you want to be able to come to them, that kind of energy. That's like Aquarius moon. But Aquarius moon is an air moon also, so there can be, like I said, a disconnect from the emotions, right? So this is a big issue with the moon in Aquarius, is that let's say the emotional, let's say there's you and there's someone that has moon in Cancer, right? The moon in Cancer person, and you guys both have the same like difficult event that happens. Let's say the moon in Cancer person starts crying. They cry, whatever, fuck, blah, 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 they cry, but they get it out of their system because emotions is energy. So the Aquarius moon / like Gemini moon, they might like air moon, they might like not feel the emotional impact until months later. They can be very aloof emotionally. But what happens is that it gets stored up. And it also can be difficult for relationships, like with certain people, because you might not feel things like in the same way other people feel things, right? But one of the great advantages of that is the fact it is conjunct Neptune loosely, so it's like that's big, because that can really put you more in touch with your intuition. If you have to really like try with the meditations and whatever you do, but it can make you way more logical, so you can be a really, really good leader. Like you are definitely a leader of people because you're able to put your a lot of people are emotional led and they make emotionally led decisions. You're able to stay calm, cool, and collected, and really just make like the logical decision that's not emotionally led, which is what real leadership needs. And yeah, so Taurus rising. I mean, yeah, so like I guess that steady approach, so steady, like sometimes you have to watch out for like being like not taking enough risks, right? Like your North Node is in the 12th house in Aries, and you have all this Earth. So like that's one of the bad things about Earth too, is that they can be way too like afraid of taking risks. Like so they might stick with the same friends their whole life, stick in the same place their whole life. Just do the kind of like the safe route. But I think there's a part of you, which I haven't like I'm going to talk about now, that wants to go otherwise, right? North Node is like the destiny point in astrology. So in Aries, at 28 Aries, in the 12th house, you're really trying to move away from lifetimes of how do I say this? Because it's so close to it's definitely 12th house. You're definitely trying to move towards like a more spiritual self, and a self where like you're way more independent, like moving away from lifetimes. It's like the Aries and Libra axis. So you're moving away from being too like maybe codependent in relationships, like like relationships in past lives where especially it's conjunct Jupiter and Libra, like where maybe you took too much, maybe you relied too much on your partner in past lives, whether it's like for like material gain, not gain, like for like what they can do for you, and this not in a sense of like you're like abusing any power, but just like in the sense of like, you know what I mean, like just like really benefiting from your relationships, but because of that, not having developed spiritually enough. And that's the Aries North Node. It's like asking you to be selfish with your spirituality and take risks, take risks in this lifetime that feel uncomfortable, but that leads you to becoming deeper with yourself spiritually. And yeah, like that's kind of like 12th house. North Node's also all about service, right? So it's like about like how you can see yourself as a part of the greater whole, right? Yeah, like basically spiritual unity is a massive goal for you in this lifetime. And learning to use like how is this? Like to find willpower, like mind over matter, right? And transform like your self preoccupation, which can be like whatever it is, into this kind of spiritual unity. And yeah, the North Node Aries, it's like you're on this spiritual karmic quest to become very self-empowered and assertive, and like I said, maybe be a little bit selfish, like in a good way, but not like people please, and not like let like the person you're in a relationship with like run your life, like literally make your own decisions, like the right person will appear when it's meant, and will be very aligned with what you're doing, but you have to do what you need, what you need to do in terms of your career. Your career is super important to you, and yeah, you have to like go in and fix the childhood traumas, because also Black Moon Lilith conjunct the IC with Saturn conjunct the IC, that's definitely talking about like traumas in the childhood, or it is square. It's actually square the notes. You might have what I have, where it's like there wasn't like a traumatic childhood, but there's like really difficult karma from past lives that's very restrictive, and a restrictive like relationship with like your dad or both parents. Is the son mostly. Like the sun and the Saturn, like the 2 points that represent the father, and they're both square your south node. So it's like for sure that there's got to be someone with a dad there, right? And healing that relationship will have a massive impact on your whole career and whole life. So you also, I want to say that pets, like really good, like having pets. Jupiter 6th house, can really benefit from having pets. It can really help you find this Libra balance, and you'll really love them. And like part of Fortune and Taurus in the first, it's like when you're being successful, like you find lots of joy when you're like really like being that Aries North Node, like when you're really being that independent, beat to the beat of my own drum. It kind of has to do with that Aquarius moon. When you're being that version of yourself, that's when you attract, when you really find joy. When you're really in that independent and self-sufficient mode, and also having a spiritual relationship with yourself is super important for you. And at the end of the day, it's also lots of joy comes from finding stability. That's what Taurus, with all this Earth wants, is stability, right? So that goes with all your the foundations you build in your life, right? And your relationships as well, of course. So even though you do want that space and kind of like a non-conformist type of relationship, at the end of the day, you do really want something that gives stability. Okay, Mars, here we are. So Mars, this one has, Pluto and Mars both in the 8th. That's mega like like death, rebirth, transformation. That's kind of why you probably are going to be someone who's going through like lots of like not necessarily like ups and downs, but you're way more interested in like in the esoteric and the occult and the mysteries of life than like a lot of other Capricorns would be. And also, your moon's in Aquarius, so you do have an emotional need to learn about these types of things, right? And I really think that the group I'm going to tell you about will be very good for you, because it's like, did I already add you? I forget. But it's like, I think I already added you. But if you haven't gone to a meeting yet, yeah, so But basically, like, it's like, you'll expand a lot. You'll emotionally, like, you'll really feel fulfilled when you're a part of these meetings. And it'll be very good. So yeah, and then like I was saying before, like Neptune in 10th house on its own means that like your career, there's got to be some level of like of giving, of spirituality, of compassion in your career. So here's some more, another clue. And your 10th house ruled by, Aquarius, even though your midheaven is in Capricorn, you might be like a humanitarian person who works in a humanitarian way, and who does things for the greater good, who does things that are like, maybe you have a very special and unconventional, maybe for your country or your background, kind of like path in your career that maybe takes you lots of different directions. But at the end of the day, like, things will get so much easier. I know this is a long time. Just know that like all the hard work, like when you get to your Saturn return, like, and it can be even before, like when people get started early with their spirituality at your age and stuff, like, it's not like God's going to be like, all right, you still have like 11 years of like shit. It's like, it gets easier. It's free will. It's a mix of free will and and the chart, right? So okay, Mars in the 8th, it's doing a nice sextile with Neptune. So you're going to be someone who has a very sharp intuition. Mars just in Sag by itself makes someone who's very driven towards like being a very inspirational leader, and who really wants to. It goes back to that whole 9th house. Like, you're very, very Sagittarian, right? Because you have all these cap planets in the 9th house, and you love the adventure, right? And you love the unknown too, right? So yeah, like a strong desire for exploration, and you go towards that. But what arena of life does it go towards? The 8th house. Like you go like anything related to like the meaning of life, even like doing your own shadow work, right? Like, you go deep into that, right? Also, it's like no, I can't. See, you're 17. I can't make comments on anything that has to do with stuff that's over 18. So I will stay away from that. But I guess what I could say is that that arena of life is something that can be prominent from not from a spiritual perspective. But okay. Also, 8th house, like just in general, like, it's about the taboo. So anything that's taboo, right? You can look up Mars in the 8th house, Pluto in the 8th house, and you'll see that like it's all about death, rebirth, transformation. And because you have these malefics there, you might be someone who has some difficult ones that they go through, that push you to being that spiritual person that you are. All right, so yeah, definitely could be some issues with the sibling, or siblings, or sibling, whatever. That's a possibility. Traveling is huge for you. Like you might even fall in love with someone from like a different culture who's like, from a different country that maybe you fall in love with when you're like backpacking or traveling or whatever you're doing. And yeah, Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, right? To me, that's like watching out for a potential of like emotional manipulation, like where you or like self victimization. It's not saying that you do that. It's like you have to watch out for that, where you overly self victimize yourself for what happened, like maybe during childhood or something like that, right? And it's also square the nodes. No way, it's not. So yeah, that one is totally linked to childhood and some darkness around your family, which is Cancer's the home, the early home life, and a deep need to fix that, right? Because it's gonna really affect every area of life. But no matter what, everything related to Saturn gets better with age. So if you do have a rocky relationship with your dad, it gets better with age. That's the Saturn. I have a Saturnian relationship with my father. It's gotten way better. I'm 32. It's gotten a lot better with age. So just know that. What else have I said? Yeah, like even like the fact you have Venus in Mercury in the 9th house, you're going to be someone who, your mind is going to be really, like, you have so much of your energy is going to be like towards the 8th house, which is like, like deep within yourself, and then the 9th house, which is like trying to understand greater philosophy. And because it's in Capricorn, you might have a really, really structured ability to say, okay, I'm going to I'm going to take this notebook. I'm going to write notes. I'm going to like literally like teach myself. I'm going to buy these books or whatever. I'm going to learn this thing I'm super interested in on your own, because it's very, you could be like a very, very good worker, or you could be a very, very good entrepreneur. One thing's for damn sure, you're going to be successful. Just as long as you don't let that pressure get to you, and you follow your own authenticity, which, by your age, but like it's very, very rare that someone understands who, that, what that is. So maybe it is astrology and you're young as hell. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I can give you some book recommendations. And I could also, like join my group is not an astrology group, but like, we definitely have some astrologers in there. So I think you're already, let me see if you're part of it already. I think I invited you. I kind of stopped, I didn't stop inviting people, but like I'm kind of putting like a little mini cap on it, we could say. There's just too many people. Okay. Let's see if you're in here. Yeah, you are. Okay, oops. One second. Yeah, I definitely, and like besides that, I feel like you have like advanced knowledge for your age, and it might be difficult for you to like find people around you. That's why I keep telling you about like going to these meetings. And also Capricorn, opposite Saturn, can be very shy. It can hold you, like you might be someone who holds like a lot of shame. But like I swear, like this group is chill. I'm not talking about the group text. I don't even really like tune into the group text that much. I have it on mute. Sometimes I pop in, but like for me, it's the meetings. We have one this Saturday, right? Yeah, this Saturday. I don't know. I think you guys are an hour before us here in Romania. It's 9:30 Romanian time, 8:30 West, like Paris time, Western Europe. But yeah, like definitely, like I think that carry you can carry shame, but there's this real boss energy to you. And yeah, you're here for like a special reason, and just watch out for like putting too much pressure on yourself and over perfectionism, because you're so ahead of where like you're so fucking ahead. Like you can like allow yourself to kind of chill and relax a little bit. Also that Mars and Sag likes to party. A lot of times, like they like to have fun, they like to let loose. And it's okay to do that. You're young, and the fact that you're learning about yourself spiritually is amazing. It's really, 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 really amazing. It truly is absolutely incredible. So more about relationships, Vertex and Libra. You're gonna kind of be someone who you might be someone who really likes to be of service. Just in general, like your doorway to higher awareness can be of service when you're of service. But then also like just like in relationships, you can kind of like be like the one that like keeps everything balanced and fair. But you have to watch out for the whole people pleasing thing, where you're putting someone else's needs above your own. Always recognize your own value, right? Always recognize your value and understand that like if someone isn't respecting you, like and they care more about themselves than you, like use that Capricorn, which is so good with boundaries, to just be like, peace out. All right. Let's see here. Okay. I can't talk about. Yeah, I just think that Mars and Sag, I mean, it's kind of close to Antares. It's like within 2 degrees. So that's in the real stars. So I mean, you definitely that will be a strong part of your chart where you can really, really shine bright in the area of the occult and esoteric. It's also conjunct Cupido. And 1 second. Is that Cupido? So yeah, there can be some real some real seductiveness to you. And then let's open up these. Okay. Okay, let me look at one thing. So okay, so let's take a look at this. You have to watch out for having like a bad temper with Pollux conjunct Saturn. Let's see, is there anything at 5 at your midheaven at 18 Capricorn? It's yeah. I'll stop sharing this so you can see my face a little bit. But yeah, a lot of these definitions that you see on here, it's like I I'm just like kind of getting into fixed stars, so like I try to add like little things I find, but it's not always like sometimes it's like definitions from like thousands of years ago. 210, 547, 696. Nope. Okay, and then there was 4 Aquarius and 21/18 Capricorn. Okay. Just missing Vega. 2, 1. Wait, 11. Yeah, we saw that. Okay. So let's see if there's anything with LOI. Okay. One second. Like, my friend, something really quick. It's just really funny when you go for these like it's just very hit or miss. Okay, so okay, 4 Aquarius, that's where you had your moon. So nothing with Oculus, and then also Debbie is at 4 Aquarius. Debbie. Okay, so this is what it says for moon conjunct Debbie. And I'll probably leave you on this one. Successful in business, but retires under a cloud. Favorable for wealth, influential position, but scarcely realizes ambitions. Trouble through the opposite sex. Um, Criticism and censor. And how close is it? It's 4, 3. It's okay, good. It said if it was really, really close, it would have been really bad, but it's not that close. Okay. Oh yeah, last thing I need to look up if there's anything on this. Definitely have to watch out for like intoxicants, drugs, stuff like that. You know, there can be like a very high potential for like extreme like spirituality, but there can also be like the potential to like waste it, like wasted talents. So just knowing that, like, you know, having FOMO hot, like, um, you know, with Uranus, it's just like, yeah, you gotta really like choose the grounded route all the time. All right. Oh yeah, and then finally last one, Jupiter. Cannot look at Jupiter. So close to speak of, but not close enough. Okay. So yeah, that is it. I think, yeah. Or wait. 18. Hold on. Okay, so you have Rookbot conjunct midheaven. Yeah, also like the fact that Pollux is on your Saturn, you can attract like arguments, power struggles, aggression in your life. But also it's really good for giving you like a penetrating mind, in like occult and spiritual gifts. I mean, your Mars is close to Antares, so I guess I can like, it's like barely like, Antares is one of the 4 royal stars, right? I'm afraid that this is going to be like a very violent one. It's at 11:09 and Antares is at 9:49, so it's like, yeah, it's like just an orb, but barely. So it's not going to be a very strong influence of Antares, but yeah, it can lead to quarrels with friends and relatives, but you're fairly favorable for gain, so it's good for gain. Detrimental habits powerfully affecting life. So it's associated with Mars, courage. There's lots of courage, but there's like lots of risk taking. So watch out. I already said the risk taking thing, to not take too many risks. You have to be like careful for all times of like unforeseen events and accidents. So there can be lots of like anger that comes up. Like, so this is the thing with like 9th house Sag energy, especially your Mars here. Like with people who don't agree with you, who don't see things the same as you have to learn the lesson of like, just like, I know it fucking sucks, but just like allowing people to kind of like, everyone comes to their own truth the same, like when they're meant to, and that you as like someone who understands astrology so young, like you're blessed, but it's a double-edged sword. So you really have to like learn that kind of like, you know, when someone like this is the thing that, like, don't become too like don't attach too much of your ego to your beliefs. That's the lesson, but it's a super fucking hard lesson to learn. Yeah, so it can create anger issues, especially with like the people who are the closest to them. Yeah. So there's like parts of your chart that's like fucking killer, like murder. Like it's just like that's like kind of like where we're at, like on online. Like I have books about it, but like I haven't had time to read them yet. So I'll know way more about like the fixed stars. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Okay, an hour 8, so I'm getting better. I still can't keep one under a goddamn hour. It's like, I think it's impossible when I bring in the stars. Maybe I should just make like 2 readings where like one of them is like, without the fixed stars, and the other one's like, like, I don't know, like $30 or $40 more, and it's like also with the fixed stars. I think I would only do that when I get better with the stars. Anyways, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Good job winning the raffle. And I hope this helps you in some way. And yeah, definitely, like, most people watch it over like multiple times. First time, it doesn't really matter now because you've already seen it. No need to take notes. After that, you can kind of like take notes and or like maybe write me like a report of like things I said. Like I really want to know like what I was right about, what I was wrong about, and all that stuff. So thank you very much for being an amazing follower for so long, and congrats. You deserve this, or God or the universe said that you deserve this. So yeah. All right.